AITA for kicking my GF out after she called me a crybaby for crying over my dead niece? I don't know where to even start with this. I met my now ex-GF 4 years ago in college. Until now, she seemed like the type of woman I would want to marry. Extremely kind, genuine, and generally a joy to be around. My big sister and her husband had a daughter at the beginning of our relationship. I couldn't be more happy to be an uncle. She was the cutest thing in the world to me. I tried to that cool uncle to her and would always try to find time for her. My sister would regularly bring her over to my place for me to babysit when she had something going on. My GF, to my knowledge, also seemed to get along fine with her and wouldn't be against babysitting her with me. The best moment I shared with her was when my sister showed me a drawing my niece made about me in kindergarten. I was literally on the verge of tears seeing that. A year ago, my world turned upside down when my sister gave me a call crying. That one sentence still rings in my head from time to time. She told me she was diagnosed with leukemia. To say I was devastated would be an understatement. The past year was really tough for all of us. I spent most of my free time with my sister and brother-in-law in the hospital. Seeing that poor girl with all those tubes attached to her really broke my heart. I would regularly bring over balloons and make those balloon animals for her. I learned how to make those while working at a carnival when I was young. As a result, I spent less time with my GF. She seemed like she understood until her cancer grew worse. From Saturday to Sunday, I was either in the hospital or was drinking myself to sleep. One day, my GF just seemed to ignore me on our 3-year anniversary. I bought her flowers, a cake, and made her a card. My GF, on the other hand, didn't get me anything. I pressed her about it, and that's when she said something that probably was a sign of what was to come. She just told me, well, it doesn't seem like you care, so why should I get something for someone who cares more about a child that's going to die anyway? I don't know what she was expecting. Long story short, I threatened to kick her out and to tell everyone I knew, including my sister, is a close friend of hers, what she just told me. She apologized and told me she wasn't thinking straight and something like this would never happen again. I eventually forgave her and we moved on. My niece passed away last week and it's been the worst period of my life. I've basically been crying myself to sleep every day and have been spending a lot of time with my sister to console her. Something that caught me off guard, though, is that my GF seemed a bit too happy at the news of her passing. She just smiled and said, "I'm so happy she isn't suffering anymore and is in a much better place now," with a big grin on her face. Yesterday, I overheard her talking with one of her friends over the phone. I just came home from work and I guess she didn't hear me walk in. I just heard a real man wouldn't cry unless it's his child dying. That caught me off guard and I kept on listening. She said some more awful things about me being a crybaby and how I shouldn't be so attached to a kid that isn't mine, and so on. I loudly coughed to get her attention and just saw the life draining from her face. She tried the whole "let me explain" BS and I just told her to pack what's needed and I'll get her dad to come pick her up. After a solid hour of begging, she finally gave up and packed her things into a suitcase. Before leaving, she tried spitting at me but just ended up spitting on herself. Her mom called me a few hours later begging me to give her a second chance. I know I shouldn't have said this, but I just told her to go F-K herself and her mentally unstable daughter. I basically emptied half a bottle of Jack Daniels that night and went to bed. I woke up today with texts from my sister. She told me my ex told her everything that happened and understood me kicking her out, but I should consider giving her a second chance. She told me my ex seemed sincere in her apology to her. She asked what Lily would want my niece. NGL, that kind of broke me. My niece loved my GF and would always run to her and ask her to play Barbie with her. I feel like I shouldn't be upset if my sister forgave her, but at the same time I feel hurt by her calling me a crybaby. Before the diagnosis, I've never really cried in front of her, and her comments hurt me deeply. I feel like I can never open up to anyone again, let alone her. Am I being irrational here? Should I forgive her? AITA? First comment, I'm so sorry for your family's loss and can't imagine the pain you are feeling. My heart goes out to you and your family. As for your GF and giving her another chance, while it is really your personal decision, for me I'd have to be a hard no. Not only did she minimize your grief and loss, but she mocked you for it. Not to mention, it is absolutely SATD of her to contact your sister, who just lost her child, to manipulate her emotions to have to talk to you. Also, if your niece loved your GF so much, it doesn't seem your GF reciprocated those feelings. It's pretty sad that she can't see past her irritation of you lessening time with her to have a semblance or any empathy for you, your sister and Bill, or your niece. Forgiveness is up to the person. Your sister wants to let it go. That is her decision. Does not mean you need to follow suit. I do hope for you to reconsider the drinking you are using to ease the pain of the loss, as well as the end of your relationship. Please consider grief counseling to work through your loss. I am keeping good thoughts for you and your family. Second comment, I'd actually ask your sister exactly what your ex told her, cause I doubt she told her everything she said about your niece, the comments she made, etc. And the whole smiling with a big grin when she found out she died, saying she was just glad she is no longer suffering etc. was bullshit. She was smiling cause now she thought she'd get to spend time with you again as you won't be up the hospital anymore. That's why she was smiling. She was happy she died. That girl is nothing but a selfish, disgusting, heartless bitch. You made the right decision ending it. Also, it's perfectly normal for a man to cry over the loss of a loved one, a child, or anything else that upsets them. There's nothing wrong with a man crying. But tell your sister the full truth about all the comments she's made about your niece. I doubt she told her exactly what she said. She probably just said she made a comment about a man shouldn't cry. She deserves to know the truth if she's friends with her, cause I wouldn't want a friend like that if she spoke about my dying dead child like that. Stay far away from that evil BXX shake. I'm so very sorry for you and your sister's loss, and your family. It's truly devastating. Third comment, I'm so sorry for what you and your family have gone through. That poor little girl. Reading your post broke my heart. It's not fair. I know that the world is not fair, but it upsets me so much when innocent people, including children, go through something like cancer. I wish that I had a magic wand and could make things better for you and your family. With regards to your girlfriend, it wasn't just about calling you a crybaby, but to reassure you, there is nothing wrong with feeling your emotions and crying, regardless of whether you're a man. It's a human emotion even though society has traditionally dictated that men don't cry. This is gibberish. I wish that more men were comfortable expressing themselves and showing emotion. What is more upsetting is that your girlfriend didn't seem like she was there for you during this very traumatic and difficult time. There will be periods in a relationship when one person needs more support than the other, and I believe that that is okay as one day the other person will need more support. However, the way your girlfriend came across was, but me. I want attention. You're not giving me attention. You neglected me. A baby girl was dying of a serious illness, and she was focused on her own needs instead of being supportive during a time you needed her. On top of that, she talked poorly about you to her friend, shaming you and being disrespectful of your feelings towards your niece. I would feel hurt and upset too. I'm not saying to give her another chance. However, if you do decide to, then I believe she needs counseling as she needs to work on some things. Perhaps you can work on it together, so she is more respectful towards you and can overcome her insecurities based on what I'm getting from her in your message. Sending you and your family comforting hugs and peace.